Welcome, welcome, welcome to Straight Talk with Shelia. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your commitment. I want to just say an extra thank you to those of you who reached out to me and we had discussions. I heard you, and today I am going to give you exactly what you requested. So for the ones that I spoke with, you shared with me that you wanted me to go deeper on all the things that I mentioned last week in the video, how to wait. So we talked about a lot of things in that video, and I know it was fast, and I tried to cram everything into the 10 minutes or the 9 minutes and change, whatever it was. So today I'm going to dive deeper in how to wait in relationships. And in the next coming weeks, I'm going to go deeper on the other topics, about finance, spirituality, and so forth. So I just wanted to kind of teach a little bit today because folks are asking for more steps and things that they would like to do to make sure that they're getting the results of what they want. So before I get into exactly the depth of what I'm going to be talking about today, I want to ask you one question. What is that unexpected gift that you received during COVID? I want to share with you. I want you to type it in the comments. Let me know, what is that one unexpected gift. I want to share a cute story with you. And I'm a Jima now, so every now and again you may hear stories about my grandmother and me being a grandmother. I have a 4-year-old grandson, and he lives in New York, and I live here in Florida. And he was coming to Florida for his fourth birthday, and I was excited to see him. But COVID happened. And because COVID happened, we had to think outside the box and figure out, how am I going to stay in touch with him? How are we going to grow? How is our relationship? How is that going to develop? So I reached out to his mom, and she agreed that one night a week I would read him a story. So that's in my calendar. And believe me, it's blocked off. No one else gets that time. And it's a Tuesday at 8:30. So if you try to reach out to me and I ignore you and I don't respond to you, that is why, because that's a sacred time for me. It's about relationships. And while I'm waiting to see my grandson Grayson, we're building our relationship. So the cute story that I want to share with you, we were talking one night, and he was expressing to me how his day was. He was sharing that he went to the dentist and he had a great report. He had no cavities. So I'm like, okay, Grayson, what did you do? Did you brush often? Did you floss? He's like, wait a minute, floss. Let me show you how to do the floss. And he started to show me how to do the floss. And believe you me, he's like, no, 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 you're not doing it right. And he showed me again how to do the floss. So now I am pulling up YouTube station to figure out how to do the floss, because he's determined to make sure his Gma knows how to do the floss. And in that funny story, I'm just letting you know that I am thinking outside the box. I'm being intentional about building my relationship. Is there someone that you need to build a relationship with? Can you go deeper instead of the surface relationships you have had in the past? While you wait, it's time for you to go deeper. I brought some books with me, and I want to share with you some books that I've used in my life. These are tools I'm giving you to put in your toolbox. You can take them and use them, or you don't have to, but I'm just suggesting them because I have used them and they have helped me. Remember the quote I shared with you maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago by Wayne Dyer? It says, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. And it's so important that we look at our relationships differently. And during this time of waiting, it is important that we spend time in going deeper and learning more about ourselves. So the first book that I want to show you is a book by T.D. Jakes. It says, Before You Do. And in this book, it tells you about the things that you need to consider before you get married, before you buy that house, before you start that relationship, before you get a divorce. I wish that I had this book in my life way before. But I'm sharing it with you because I don't know what season of life you're in. But I know you've got to be building your relationship right now. And I'm all about building your personal power muscle. So as I went through that book, I realized that there were some things I wish I knew. And because I didn't know them, divorce. Yeah. And I want to share with you one other book. This one is called Save Your Saving Your Second Marriage Before It Starts. And the reason that I like this book, it is a book of with questionnaires that you have to take. And the questionnaire in the second chapter, it asks about 25 questions to help you understand, are you ready? Are you ready for that relationship? For me, I am trying to get back out there in the dating world and I want to know if I'm ready. So based on the score that I got, told me that I'm ready. And I want you to know as you're building your relationship, as you're in a season of singleness, whether the singleness is from divorce or the singleness is from, you just haven't found the right one yet, I want you to focus on tools that can help you along the way. Tools that is going to make your life better. It is so important that we become aware of who we are and become aware of our triggers, the things that someone may have said to us and it may trigger because of something from a past relationship, or maybe it was a child trauma, a trauma that you had in your childhood. You need to find ways to get in touch with your feelings and find a therapist. It's nothing wrong with having a therapist, someone that's going to help you understand what's going on. Last week, I also mentioned personality assessment. And in those personality assessment, they kind of help you figure out what your passions are, to help you become aware of your weaknesses and your strengths, why you behave a certain way. There's one that I took, and I didn't mention it last week, but I'll mention it today. It's the DISC. It's about human behavior. It helps you to know how you would really respond to a challenge. As we're waiting in this season to develop and become better and to be sharper and to get ready for that relationship that we're so desiring, it is important that we learn more about ourselves, that we learn the things that we do well and the things that we don't do well, because it is important that when you get into that relationship, you bring in your whole self. You may be asked to bring your whole self to work, to bring your whole self to a relationship. What does that even mean anyway? I just want to tell you today what that means is having knowledge of who you are, having knowledge of your strengths and your weaknesses. When you bring your whole self into a relationship, you're bringing your likes, your dislikes, the things you are good in, the things you're awful in, but the thing is you're aware. You know what they are. And it is so important that we know ourselves. It is so important that we continue to sharpen ourselves and make sure that we are ready. Please do not listen to people who tell you 50-50. You bring 50% of you. No such thing. You've got to bring 100% of you. And by doing that, you know who you are. No one have to define you. You know, based on your relationship with your creator, you know who he says you are. You are a masterpiece. Because you're broken, because you have insecurities, and because you've had broken relationship does not mean you are broken and cannot be fixed. If you take the measures that you need to take to do the work, yes, there's work involved. You have got to do the work. There's one of the book, or two of the books that I have here. This one is by Gary Chapman. It's about the 5 love languages. And it is so important that you know how you receive love. I was talking to someone the other day and she was sharing about the relationship that she is in, and the person, they buy her gifts and they, give expensive gifts and so forth. But all she would like is acts of service, someone to help her to do things, someone to spend quality time with her. But unfortunately, her partner does not know or wasn't aware at the time that that's what she needed. It is important that you know how you receive love so that you can tell the person you're in relationship with, whether it's your spouse or your son, your daughter, whoever it is. Maybe it's a business relationship and they don't understand how you think, how you process. Based on your results from your personality test, the 16 personality tests, maybe Myers-Briggs, you are starting to find out more about you. And you know if you're a left brainer, left side, or a right brainer, you now know what you bring to the table. And the last book that I want to share with you is this book by Steve Harvey, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. And sometimes people will maybe rebuff that topic, but it's so important as women to know what we are walking into out there. And we need to know the type of men that are out there, how they think, how they behave. So there's lots of ways you can learn lessons. And like I mentioned to you, I was married, and in 2012, my marriage came to an end. And I'm doing the work now in this season of singleness to make sure that I'm ready for the new relationship. And as I shared with you the book that I'm looking at, I took the questionnaire. I also took a class. In July, I took a class by Dr. Aldewan Tart, and that class talked about the ring formula. And in that class, it not only tells you how to prepare to get married, but it also tells you how to prepare you, where to connect with people, the type of men that are out there, or not just men, but people in the sense of people who are narcissistic, or maybe a mama's boy, people who are stringers, how to identify them when you bump into them. It is so important that while you are waiting, that you are working on you. If you know somebody right now that needs to hear this, I'm going to ask you to put me on pause, like and share this video, and make sure that they can get some of these tools that I've just shared with you, that they too can start sharpening their themselves, getting tools, making sure that they're on par and ready for that relationship. Because when COVID is over, you want to be ready. Remember, I said last week, this season right now is time to prepare. It is time to figure out who you are, what you like, what you don't like, what your aspirations are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. It is so important that you know who you are. You're not waiting for anyone to complete you, anyone to tell you who you are, because you already know that. You will see my email address on the screen. And as I continue to build on these lessons over the next few weeks in the series, write in your questions. I'm going to do a segment of question and answer. I want to be able to answer your questions. So put your questions in the chat or email me privately if that's going to work better for you. But I want you to be so ready post-COVID right now. It is not time to just get anchored in or get stuff in the area of I'm lonely, I'm sad, I'm missing this. I was trying to get connected with someone before COVID, now COVID happened. COVID happened. It's time to use COVID to your benefit. It is time to sharpen your skills. It is time to know more about you. It is time to develop you. It is time to know how to bring your full self to work, how to bring your whole self to your relationship. I am your coach. I am your sister, shining light to the treasure that I know that's deep down inside of you. I can't wait to hear from you, to hear the unexpected things that you have received during COVID like I did, and let me know all the questions that you would like me to answer. I thank you so much for tuning in, and may God bless you. I meet you here next week. Same time, maybe not same place, but I'll meet you here. And thank you so much, and may God bless you. Bye bye.